Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Stability and Opportunity Podcast. My name is Tyler Fenn. I'm really excited about the episode that we're doing today. I've got Paula Burlison out of Las Vegas here with me. Paula, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Before we get started, just know that everybody, this is being streamed from multiple locations. So whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or on our website, if you've got comments or questions, please put those in there. And we've got people from our teams on each one of those platforms that can relay those over to me so we can get your questions answered. So thank you for doing that. We want for this to be beneficial and for you guys to have the information that you need. And sometimes that means asking the questions that you need answered so that we get that information from an expert like Paula. So Paula, thank you so much. We're gonna jump in here. Can you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes.
Paula Burlison from Coldwell Banker Premier here in Las Vegas. Lived in Las Vegas for over 25 years. Been in the market for about 20 years. Just loving it. Was previously 2009 #1 agent for GCI at Coldwell Banker, so that was a really cool experience. Hope to repeat that again soon enough. And top 1% here in the Valley. So just a cool experience to be a great guiding light for all my clients.
Awesome, Paula. You've had a fantastic relationship with REDX over the years. You've visited us here in our office on multiple occasions, and that's always been fun. But
yeah, you guys are my family.
Yes, thank you. And I've always told people, I've always said, man, if I could bottle up Paula's positive attitude and determination and sell that, I'd be on a beach in Hawaii right now, right? I mean, that'd be the ultimate product to sell. Right? There you go. So I'm really grateful. I think that there's some really good things that you can share with people today. Obviously, we want to talk about stability and opportunity. We want to talk about some things. And prior to the show, you and I were talking about just briefly about routine and how crucial that is. And I think that right now people are craving some routine. Right. I mean, even my 9-year-old came up to me the other day and he said, "Dad, I don't have anything to look forward to." And I think we all feel that way a little bit, right? I think that we all feel a little bit, there's a lot of uncertainty. Tell us what your routine is like a little bit. And you'd mentioned your brokerage and the great leadership that's provided an opportunity for some routine. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. And just so you know, Tyler, as soon as this situation is over, I'm going to go to every 2-year-old's birthday party, every dance recital. I'm going to go to everything. Like I truly do feel like not having interaction with people on a regular basis, even though it's, just eye-to-eye contact and handshakes and, we really miss that. And I think that it takes something out. So yeah, we're all feeling that. So, having the routine does help tremendously. When we first got started with this, I was like, oh boy, I can sleep in, but after about a couple of weeks, you start to get a little like misguided almost, like you're lost and lonely. So I started doing my routine again. I get up at 5:15 in the morning. I do my miracle morning and start my role play, practice my scripts. My office is absolutely, like brokerage and office, Bob and Molly Hamrick here in Las Vegas are just absolutely incredible about creating that office environment and still having a schedule. So we have classes every single day, agents sharing back and forth. We have script practice. We have a lot of that stuff, just like it would be if we were in the office. And I think it makes a huge difference. I work for, 90 minutes to 2 hours. I get up, take a break, take the dogs for a walk, get outside, then come back and get back to work.
So what do you think some of the challenges are that somebody might run into by not continuing or creating some kind of routine? What do you think the big pitfalls are that people run into?
Well, I think everything is about habit, and it took us years to create the habits of working, right? And to get your schedule right, and it took me years to get my schedule right. And just in that 2 weeks, like I was like, who are you? Like, what, what day is it? And so it's really, really important to have that routine. I think that if the problem is that if we keep slacking off and keep hiding under our beds and keep, being like this is a vacation when there's opportunities out there, you're going to be behind the 8 ball when we do get to go back out and have and be able to have business. You're going to be trying to reload and revamp those habits. It took me a full week of trying to get back up at 5:15 and fighting it before I could, really got used to it again, So, you're going to, why wait? Let's get ready. Let's go.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that it is interesting. I think that for a lot of industries and for ours especially, I think that people were like, hey, vacation, right? Hey, we have to stay home, right? And that means that my honey-do list is going to get knocked out. But the truth is, yeah, life has to go on. And I think that there's a lot of power that comes from that, right? Is when somebody goes, hey, I'm really tempted to sleep in or not follow my routine or not role play or skip this meeting. It's a pretty slippery slope, right? As it's really easy to start. It's really easy to skip one role play and then skip this meeting and then not make this follow-up call.
Not hour and not shave and not wear pants. We set up an accountability with my mastermind group, who are amazing human beings, that every day by 8 a.m. our time that we have to have a video of us dressed, ready to go, like we're going out on an appointment, so that we're ready to go to work. Because we were having these mastermind meetings and we were like, have you shaved this week? Like, what is going on? Like, are you in a hoodie right now? So we were like, okay, this far and no further. So now we have this accountability set up to where we have to send like a little 10-second video of us dressed, ready to go to work for the day.
I love that. I love the accountability that's put in place. And you're absolutely right. It's easy to not shower, not shave, as you can see. But I love that, to go, hey, we've got to adapt to these times and create accountability. So here's 10 seconds of me dressed, ready to go on an appointment, even if I don't have anywhere to be, right? Just to show that you're up and prepared for the day. I think that it's important to dress for the job you want, right? And so if you want to present yourself,
we got to get ready to work.
Yes, then
we got to get ready for work. I perform better. I'm better on the phone. I'm better talking to my clients when I'm ready for work, and that's just, I think that's the same for a lot of people.
Yeah, I love that. I totally agree. So somebody mentioned here in the comments when I was introducing you, they said Paula is a beast at expireds, right? Your reputation has preceded you, which is awesome. So and then somebody else said, yeah, let's talk about expireds. Can we shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about what you're doing right now to continue to be productive? What are the lead sources you're going after? Maybe what your daily schedule is looking like right now, since obviously it is very different than when you're working in the office.
It's not. So to answer your first question, when this happened, we were like, can we even show property? Everybody's in a different market and so forth and so on. And
yeah.
So I immediately said, I have the blessing of having to have gone through an economic crisis before, and I didn't move fast enough then, and it was a learning experience. And so I believe in the concept of not wasting a crisis, right? So yeah. I immediately started to call for rent by owners through REDX. I went and talked to Mark about how I can, here our governor said that we can still show properties that are owner occupied with their permission. We can still show vacant properties. So I just went after the vacant property market. Like, I literally pulled a list of every single property that I went through my MLS, and I know everybody's MLS is different. We have the blessing of being able, in our showing instructions, to say whether a property is vacant or whether it's occupied. And so I literally have a full folder of like 300 leads of vacant properties that have expired in the last 30 days that are vacant properties, which, I could sell all day. Like there's no issues there, right? So I was like, okay, what can we do? And so we started doing that. So I started calling investors. I started calling for rent by owners. I started calling my own personal investors, asking if their tenants were going to be able to continue to pay rent, talk to them about that, and just, just make it happen, just find a way to make it happen.
So your routine
the other
hasn't
thing
changed.
We did.
Sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say,
the thing is about it.
So there's like this, this delay. So there's,
I know, the little delay,
what you're saying is, you're saying that your routine hasn't changed a whole lot, just maybe where your attention is focused. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So I still get up in the morning. I still do my role play at 7:30, practice my scripts. I get on the phone 8:39, just like I normally would. It's so funny because everybody's like, oh, you have to be first. You have to be first. I believe you just have to be the best. You don't have to be the first. So, so I sometimes get a little backlash for that. But I call the vacant expireds, and I call some investors, and then I call my sphere of influence, making about 30 to 40 contacts a day, and just doing my job, and then take a lunch, take a walk, come back, and handle any office stuff that needs to be done, and and then when you would have appointments in the afternoon before, like 2, 3, 4 o'clock, you'd have appointments in the afternoon. I don't always have appointments, so sometimes we get off a little early, and that's okay.
That's good. That's good. Take a break and reboot and regenerate, and then get back to it first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I can start cleaning out my counters in the afternoons.
There you go. You'd mentioned that you started calling investors and for rent by owners. The for rent by owners are fantastic. I'm a huge fan of the for rent by owners. I think they're an amazing lead type. But can we talk about how your scripts maybe have changed, if they've changed at all during this time? Is how you're approaching people any different, or are you just continuing with the same scripts and same conversations when prospecting as you would prior to the pandemic and everything that's happened?
I do use the same scripts, but I have added a few more questions in there, specifically to, finding out a little bit about, are they accidental landlords, or are they, do they own multiple investment properties? How are they performing? And I have found this really cool experience to be able to just say, hey, Tyler, lots going on in the market. What do you think is going to happen? And asking them what they think. And so if I were to say to you, Tyler, I see that you have this, home for rent. It seems like it's been vacant for about a couple of weeks. What's your plan?
I don't really know right now. Everything's kind of up in the air with the markets. So I don't really know what my plan is at this point.
Right. And, it's really kind of a high risk situation to even put a tenant in there right now. I mean, you realize that they don't even have an obligation to pay, or you can't even evict them if they don't pay. I mean, it's just a really challenging time. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. It's very challenging.
It's interesting. We have there's a significant advantage in the market right now. Did you realize that our inventory is actually at a very low level? And you probably weren't interested in selling 6 months ago, but at this point, knowing what's, going on in the market and what the future of the market could be, would you consider selling now rather than waiting?
Yeah, I think that if it made sense for me to sell, I am not opposed to that. There's certainly equity in the property that I could do other things with right now that might be a little more reliable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the stock market's a great place to put your money these days. So, but, so before if we could get the home on the market sooner rather than waiting for the market to adjust, then that would probably be in your best interest, don't you think?
Yes, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we do this? I have time either at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock this afternoon. We can do a virtual appointment. I will send you all the information, give you all the details, show you exactly what it's going to take to get it sold, and then we can decide together on whether or not now's the right time. Does that sound fair?
Perfect. Go ahead and send it over.
All right, perfect. I look forward to seeing you then. So, I mean, that's just it. That's all I do all day long.
Good. That's fantastic. I love that. I love that you jumped right into role play and just waited for me to respond. That was so like I'm in the zone, right? That was perfect. Thank you. Hey, so there's a few questions coming in, and I know that we haven't talked about expireds yet, but again, I mentioned that your reputation has preceded you. So people are asking some questions about expireds, and I want to go to those a little bit. So there's a few that have come in. I'm going to ask them a little bit out of order so that they're all kind of grouped together.
Okay.
There's a few people mentioning, expireds get bombarded by agents the morning they expire, right? That's a real common thing in any market. There's a whole bunch of agents that call on a brand new expired listing. One of the questions is, how do you respond to the objection? You're the 10th guy to call me today, or not another real estate agent. How do you, when you're calling on expireds, how do you overcome that objection?
I usually either tell a joke, I usually make a joke, or I come at them with empathy. So depending on your personality type, and what you feel comfortable with, I will say, Tyler, you're absolutely right. And gosh, I don't envy your position at all. Just out of curiosity, I think you deserve a different perspective. So what do you plan on doing when the home's sold?
And then from there, do you just continue right on with your script? That's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the next question. Like, what are you going to do when the home sells? That's the next question. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, you just give them empathy. You acknowledge where they're at, or if they're really nasty, like, you're the 250th person to call me. I'm like, oh, do I win a prize? So that catches them off guard sometimes. But it's just whatever you feel like, for the day. I mean, the bottom line is, for me, I gotta have fun or I'm not gonna do it. So and I'm compelled because I know people need a great agent, and I know that I can help them. And if I don't do that, if I don't do my job, then I'm not fulfilled by place in this universe. So it's just a calling, I guess you could say.
I love that. That's fantastic. And I love that you're just continuing right on, right? There's a few, it sounds like you have a few tricks, right, that you use because you've been in this industry enough that they respond this way and you respond with, like you said, hey, oh, did I win something? And then you just go right on with the script, right? There's no need
to. Yeah, you just go on,
That's great. There's no need to
you can't
step on someone's toe.
When they get to you, you can't panic. That's the bottom line. You just have to just be able to roll with it, and it just takes practice. It takes practice. I mean, you have to learn how to dance in one day. It just takes practice.
Yeah. Let's come back to some of these other questions here. So someone else is asking, how close are you sticking to your scripts? So they must know that you're with Mike Ferry because they put Mike Ferry in parentheses right there. But how close are you sticking to your scripts? And this goes right along with practice. So maybe that's a good segue.
Hi, I'm looking for Tyler. I use the script no matter what. I'm sticking to it. I mean, there is this new objection, but it really isn't new, is it? It's, I want to wait, right? Or I'm fearful of the market. And again, like, I have the advantage of having gone through a downturn in the market before and had to retool and learn. And so now I know what to say. So when they say to me, we want to wait, I say, I don't blame you. Most people do, and it sounds like you still want to sell. Is that right, Tyler?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And it sounds like it might just be a matter of safety and timing. So if there was a way that I can show you or share with you that can safely sell your home, or we can sell your home without and guarantee your safety and get you the most money now before there's any changes in the market, would you allow me to share with you how we can do that?
Yes, I would certainly be open to that.
Perfect. That's all I'm asking. Give me 15 minutes. I've got some time either today at 4 or tomorrow at 3:30. What works better for you?
Let's do tomorrow at 4:00.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, you just have to, there's a whole, like this is a challenge for sure. People have to acknowledge that, right? On all of our listings, we've added Matterport walkthrough technology. We've added, video. We've added some other upgraded things. But I mean, it's just a matter of retooling and reworking, and people still need to sell. The other thing is that this is going to pass. Like, this too shall pass, right? And if you already have a list of people that say, you know what, we really do want to wait, but I've got the kids here and I've got all these other things going on, and I can say, okay, great. Well, you know what? The governor said that we're going to be able to open May 15th. How about this? Let's go ahead and make some decisions on what's going to be the right marketing plan for you. Get the home ready to go on the market so that on the 15th of May, we can start showing before anyone else. And there's going to be a backlog of buyers out there. I mean, we have people that need to buy, but they haven't yet. So let's catch that opportunity. That's what you want, Tyler, right? You want that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So, so yeah, you just, like I said, you have to be empathetic. And, if you're not building your pipeline right now to be ready on, the first couple of weeks of May, I mean, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I love this. I love that that you've adapted enough that you can provide this comforting tone for people on the other end of the line. Like you said, I think that people are afraid. I think that there's a lot of uncertainty, and I think that your approach to just saying everything's going to be okay. We want to still provide a service, but we want to ensure your safety. We want to ensure your comfort right through that. That's really what people need. People need to feel safe through this process, and I think that that's fantastic that you guys are adapting to be able to do that. And it sounds like just a tiny tweak in the script, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome. So we've got another question here. There's a bunch of questions coming in. I love this. Somebody's asking what your thoughts are on geo leads, right? If you're prospecting to, you're just listed, just sold, and you're working those. Are you trying to collect an email?
Absolutely.
And I know what you do here, right? Regardless, I know the Paula way, right? You get somebody on the phone and you're going to take advantage of that. But for those people who don't know you like I do, can you tell people what happens when you get somebody on the phone? It doesn't even have to be just listed, just sold. Let's say you're calling on an expired and the wrong person answers the phone. How do you handle that to turn that into something positive?
Listen. Yeah, there is no contact wasted. That's my whole thing. So you either get an appointment, you get a referral, or you get their contact information and follow up with them and possibly put them in your sphere of influence. Not everybody's going to go in there, but send them a thank you card and just be of service. That's the thing. So I love Just Listed, Just Sold, especially right now, because people are at home. And Tyler, they're lonely and they want to talk to people. So, I mean, it's a great source of business right now. And, they may not be selling right now, but their child, just was supposed to graduate as a senior this year, and they're going to miss their graduation. And now that's really unfortunate. But after that, they were planning on selling the house and downsizing. And you have the opportunity to be the only agent in front of them in a time where they have questions, and you can be a guidepost for them. And it's a great way to build your pipeline right now.
I love that. And that kind of leads us to building opportunity in markets like this. Where you mentioned the for rent by owners, and you're reaching out to your current investors, your personal investors. Where else do you think people are finding opportunity? Where are the agents focusing their time that are going to help them to not only maintain, but grow their business through this strange time that we're dealing with?
So there's here. First and foremost, your sphere of influence. You gotta love the heck out of them right now, and you have to call them and see how they're doing. See if you can help them personally, professionally. Ask how's it going with the kids at home. You've got to just really be there for them. So your sphere of influence is really important. Second of all, expireds and just listed, just expireds and for rent by owners. And then third is just listed, just sold. I mean, with those sources, you have plenty of opportunities to speak with people and to find business.
I love that. And these are not anything out of your realm of expertise, right? I mean, these are the things that you've been doing for many, many years, and it doesn't seem like you're scrambling to try to do anything different, right? You're focused on what you know and what you're comfortable with a few tweaks and adaptations. But for the most part, it's let's just continue to move forward, continue with my routine, continue with my leads, continue with my positive attitude. And it seems like your outlook on all of this is, like you said, this too shall pass.
Here's the thing, Tyler. Can we control it? We can't control what's going to happen in the market, but we can control what we do. We can control how we respond. And if we respond in a, positive manner, if we find a way to talk to people with empathy and with, they're going to be mad. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, and I can tell you this, it doesn't look like we're going to see a lot of appreciation this year. So, if you were a seller and you were facing that, you have to be empathetic. And so I would say to you, you know what, Tyler, I can appreciate that, we may have to sell the home for a little bit less than what you would have gotten a year ago. But if you knew that you could get 95% of the market rather than waiting for an uncertain market, wouldn't you want to do that, right? So, you just have to find a positive spin for it. You have to help lead the people.
I love that. I think that as you're mentioning that, right, there's people that still have to sell. There's people that still need to take advantage of that. What's the flip side of that? Where do you feel like the buyers are right now? Do you feel like people that are in the market to buy right now are buying because they have to? I mean, is that really what's happening? Or,
well, what's interesting about the market right now is that it's kind of like Christmas time, right? So there are still buyers out there in the market, and those buyers are the most motivated, most qualified buyers. So that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I think beyond that, there are a significant number of people that are chomping at the bit, waiting at the start line, to get the green light to go out there. We're going to have really great low interest rates. We'll probably have a stimulus bringing in, some sort of assistance for buyers coming in. There's going to be some really great opportunities for buyers coming into the market. And I think that once we get the ability to, and we've gotten this under control and people have some confidence, I think that there's a lot of pent up demand, and I think it'll move quickly. Buyers, those that can get their home on the market in the first 3 days are gonna win.
Awesome. I love that. We've got a whole bunch of questions still coming in. And so I'm gonna, some of them are similar questions and coming in from different sources. So I'm going to try to consolidate as many questions into one as I can. But there's a few different questions coming in about the different technologies that you're using right now, right? Whether that's to do your virtual prospecting or virtual listing appointments or even virtual showings. What are the technologies that you're using to make this time effective?
I will say there is something great that comes out of everything that's challenging, right? And anybody that knows me, knows that I'm a tech tard. Like, I do not embrace technology very much at all. I mean, my lender is like, sign up for BombBomb, do these videos, do this, do that, and I'm like, I have yellow paper, and I have this pen. I have a phone, and it does things. People call me on it. I mean, that's just not been my forte. So people are like, what lead system do you use? I'm like, 3x5 cards, you know? So I'm very simple. But because of this challenge, I have been compelled to upgrade my marketing and have more video conversations and to use we added Matterport walkthroughs for all of our clients. We're doing video open houses for our clients. We're doing a lot of that stuff. And you know, it's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I've had to take a few Zoom classes and just make it work, right? And just make it work. So you know, I tend to stay away from technology just because I feel like it can be a huge rabbit hole and it can be a huge distraction. But, you know, to each their own. And so I know there's certainly some great opportunities out there. But again, my brokerage is so great that they, you know, have great, you know, content and stats and all that stuff that they send in our behalf, like it's coming from me all the time. And I'm just super blessed to have that.
I love that. That's awesome. We've got some questions about different lead types. You'd mentioned sphere of influence, expireds and furbos, and then the just listed, just sold, the geo leads. Some questions about FSBOs. What do you think FSBOs are doing right now? And are you prospecting to those? And what are your thoughts?
I think FSBOs are panicking right now because they don't know, they don't have the workaround, right? And I think it's a huge opportunity in the market. I still am a little challenged with them on the phone. That's not been my biggest lead source. If I drive past one, I'll stop and knock on the door, but now that's probably not appropriate. So, but yeah, I do think that it's a great opportunity. And if you're an agent that really does well with for sale by owners or enjoys, you know, that process, then, you know, now is a great time for that. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Let me just chime in here for some of the people that are still listening, just so everybody knows, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or on the REDX.com site streaming this live. Again, continue to put in your questions. We've got people from all of those people on our team at all of those different sources. They're plugging that in. The REDX Customer Forum also is a fantastic place to go with these questions. And we'll have more, even further discussion about those on the REDX Forum, which is fantastic. But here's kind of what I'm hearing from you, Paula, through all of this. And I'm actually not surprised. Again, I've mentioned a few times, you've been a friend of REDX for a long time, a decade or more at least. And there's this kind of underlying theme as we've been talking, and it's that not a whole lot has changed in terms of your business, how you're conducting business, the routine that you're doing. It's really business as usual, and regardless of what the market conditions are, you're going to thrive through that, right? And I think that that's such a great mindset. As you go into all of this, I think that that's the mindset that a lot of people need right now. We talked pre-show about how some agents are paralyzed. That was the word that you used. Agents are paralyzed right now, and it's because they don't know what to do, or they're afraid of the uncertainty of what's moving or what's happening in the markets. And I think it's fantastic that you're coming into this with this mindset that I'm just going to keep doing what I do, because that will continue to get results, right? It really shows that the processes and things that you've built over the years in your career work.
Right. Well, I'll share with you, Tyler, it's got to work better than hiding under my bed. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna reach the goal that I've had, or if there's gonna be lag in the market, or if I'm gonna have to readjust my business plan. All of those are reality, but I know that this is going to where and doing nothing, and that's the option. And for me, we've talked about this before. I don't have another option. This is my job. And, unless I want to go back to being a receptionist, I'm not, which was 20 years ago. I still don't know if how many words a minute I can type anymore. But, unless I can't go from doing, this is the only option. I have no other option. So that's good. And also I wanted to share with you guys, like, hey, I'm personally obligated to help you guys, to help your clients and to help other agents. Like, we're in this together. There's plenty of business for all of us that are willing to work. So if you ever have questions, you have concerns, my email, they'll share it with you, is paulab@cbvegas.com. My number is 226-4901. You can call me, text me, email me. I'm happy to help you guys anytime, anything that you need. Okay.
That's fantastic. I think that for you to be so willing to help anybody without the thought of, well, what's in it for me, right? I think that's the mindset that everybody needs, right? Is the more we share, what's the phrase that all rising tides lift all boats, right? I think that rising tide is that mentality that we're willing to share and help and uplift other people, regardless of what's in it for us, which is awesome. One last thing here, my page actually is frozen on my screen, the one that has all the questions. So if there's questions coming in, I apologize, I can't see them anymore. But I did want to ask this one last question here, Paula, because you'd mentioned this earlier. You'd mentioned that, look, I was an agent through the last financial crisis in 2008. And clearly you're still an agent, right? Which means that for the last 10 years, you've continued, right? You grew through that. You learned things that you needed to and grew moving forward. Now that we're kind of facing this time where there's downward pressure, and I think there's probably a lot of agents who've never experienced this. If anybody's gotten in the industry in the last 10 years, all they've ever experienced is upward growth in the markets. And if there was,
this is a big surprise for them.
Yes. Now, if there was maybe one last bit of advice that you could provide for people who are feeling this downward pressure and feeling maybe some of the uncertainty that we've talked about, what's the biggest piece of advice that you could provide for them to help them to maintain and grow through this so that they can come out the other side stronger, better, and more productive?
Well, number one, I would say take a really, really close look at your expenses, and make a really fail swoop of just cutting any major expenses. If you're buying leads, stop it. If you're paying Zillow, stop it. I mean, you guys you can't afford to do those kinds of things, in these moments. If you've got great staff, take good care now. If you keep the things that you need to keep. But the thing is that you have to be very judicious with our finances. I know a lot of us, this is a very scary moment. And I remember, having to figure out like how I'm going to pay. I was that agent, and I tried to figure out how am I going to pay $1,000 a month of expenses with I'm making $3,000 a month, and so we learned a lot from that on how to keep your business, run it really lean, and you're the rainmaker. So we have the control. The other advice I would give is to just be really, really particular about what you feed your mind. Right now, there is nothing good news, and there's never anything good in the news, but now especially if they're selling fear, they're selling uncertainty, turn it off. Just turn it the heck off. And if something's really important, believe me, somebody's going to tell you about it. So the least amount of news that you possibly can. make sure you're surrounding yourself with great people that can hold you accountable to doing even the minimum standard of what your job is. I mean, hey, we're all lonely. Like, we're all having a hard time. We all got the kids home. We've got, this is a challenge that we've never dealt with before. But if you can just make 10 contacts a day and have some normality, you're going to be ahead of the game when we come out of this. So just, continue working. Be really careful about who you spend your time with. What you're watching on TV, what you're reading, and who you're talking to, and just cut the news out altogether, because it causes us in your mind.
I love that. I think that those are fantastic ways. I heard you say, look at your expenses, right? Take a real close look at where your money's going and be cautious about that. Surround yourself with great people, and then create accountability, and then be cautious of what you digest, right? In terms of information, I think is what I heard, right? So Mark very well here at REDX, and he's mentioned a few times. He said a lot of the stuff on the news is people who don't know what to do trying to tell you what to do, and I think that's the case. Is we're listening to people who are in the same position that we are, and we're all trying to figure out. I love this idea. Keep your head down. Continue to work hard. Continue to focus on the things that are most important, and you'll come out the other side better and stronger. I think that's what I'm hearing from you as kind of this underlying. That's the Paula B way. Is just keep your head down and keep a smile, and you'll come out the other side.
Yeah, you just gotta listen, this too shall pass. Do the very best that you can. Treat your past clients with empathy and integrity, and go out and look for a little extra business, and just don't buy into the fear. I mean, we're doing everything we're supposed to do. We're at home, we're washing our hands, we're wearing masks, we're doing all the things that we're supposed to do. Just let this, let it run its course, and let's get back to work.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Paula. A few things for the people listening here, and then we'll wrap up here. When we're done, Paula, if you'll stay with me, we'll go over just a few last things, just you and I. But guys and gals, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for the questions that have come in. I apologize, technical difficulties. If there's questions, we'll make sure to get those answered on the different technologies that we're using, especially within the REDX customer forum, which you can access through Vortex. If this is your first time on this podcast, we've got close to 30 of these episodes now. With 30 amazing people in the industry, and not just agents. Some of them are economists. Some of them are brokers. They're from all different perspectives and are able to provide tips and tricks to create stability and opportunity. If you want to receive daily updates, just go to our homepage, theredx.com. Wait for 5 or 10 seconds. You'll get a pop-up regarding this where you can enter in your email, and then we'll send you the daily updates. You can also go back and watch all of the replays. So there's really, really great information that agents have, like Paula, have taken time out of their day to share with us, which is really, really awesome. If people have other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to REDX. Paula, you were gracious enough to share your contact info. If you have other questions, feel free to reach out to Paula. She is a beast when it comes to prospecting. She is the prospecting queen. I told her that pre-show, and she said, should I go get my tiara to wear? And I thought, if you wear that prospecting, that would be amazing. So we are indeed grateful for your time, Paula. Thank you. And thanks everybody for taking time out of your busy day. We will be back here tomorrow and every day after that. Thanks so much, everybody.